Hey guys, it's Maris. Welcome back to Harpies in the Trees, where I review horror books with a supernatural focus. I hope you guys liked my 4,000 subscriber celebration video. You gave me so many wonderful comments. Thank you so much. This month is a super busy month. It is so crazy. So many things are happening. I'm so excited about all of them. Some of the things that will be coming up are my own videos or videos that I will be participating in with other people. So I'm very excited about that. Of course, I have my Spooky Readers Top 5 coming up with Nikki from DarkBetweenPages and Felix Demaro, the author of How to Make a Monster, which I reviewed on here if you remember. And I will be working on my Halloween special, which is very different from last year. The theme is Halloween Advent Calendar. My next two reads are The Monster of Elendhaven. I've started this already. It's pretty good, actually. And the other one is Hekla's Children by James Brogden. This looks like it's a pretty thick book, but the font is actually pretty big. And you know, it's like the perfect, I don't know what you would call that. Like, you know when you look at a book and you're like, oh yeah, that spacing and that font size feels really, really good to me. There should be a name for that. Today, I'm going to be doing a really cool tag. I was tagged by Regina from Regina's Haunted Library and by Lydia at Lydia's Typical Books, and it's called the Booktube Island Castaway tag. I was tagged in this a little while ago. I think it was like a month ago. By Regina, so I'm sorry to be so late on this. It's just been pretty busy and hectic, but I decided that I wanted to do something fun today and leisurely and exciting and talk about, you know, some other booktubers, and so here we are, we're gonna do this tag. But before we get into the book tag, let's do a few comment shoutouts. Andrea Velez says, in first grade during art class, I drew a gargoyle on a bloody mansion, which made my classmates cry in unison. I think that was my occult awakening. That is so cool. I feel like when little things happen like that, it really does feel like you're totally in tune with something, you know, and who knows why they cried all in unison, but I want to believe that you totally did that, and I think a gargoyle on a bloody mansion should totally be your sigil. Scribes says, would you consider reading some Ronald Malfi's work? I really enjoyed December Park, The Floating Staircase, and I'm currently reading his last Come With Me and really enjoying it. I like the blend of mystery and supernatural, and I think you might as well. So I've seen Ronald Malfi's books around, like on Instagram and stuff like that. I just always was like kind of unsure about it. Like I was just always like really unsure if it would be something that I would like. But because Scribes is saying that there's this blend of mystery and the supernatural, now I'm intrigued. Now I'm gonna go and see which one of these books looks like they might be for me. If you're lucky enough to be in an area that is very warm and sunny and hot right now, go outside, lay down in the sun, put in your headphones, and come with me and be a castaways. We are castaways. You come upon a hut whose inhabitant decides to be your guide. Which booktuber do you trust to guide you across the island? I thought a good choice for this might be Dane Reads. The reason being is I think that he reads a lot of the classics, you know? And he's probably read Treasure Island, which is actually a favorite of mine. I think I've read it, I don't know, maybe like 10 or 15 times. I don't think I would remember any actual useful, functional information from the book, but probably Dane would. You set off in search of food and come across a booktuber who can feed you. Who is it? I chose Spooky Noodles. I absolutely chose him because of his channel name, but I think that we would make a good team. He seems like such a nice and sweet person that I think that we would be able to forage some food together and work together to come up with a tasty recipe. You and your guide somehow get lost and you're thirsty. Which booktuber could lead you to water? I have two booktubers here, Jason from JasonsWeirdReads and Book Invasion. And the reason why I chose these two gentlemen is because they both read sci-fi, which means, you know, maybe they might know some techniques or some ways of finding resources within the island, which would be perfect. Yikes, you fall into a hidden pit. Which booktuber would you look to get you out? I have two picks, Lydia from Typical Books and Alex from the Bookubus, because these two are never emotional. Like, they never seem to let their emotions get to them. They seem to be extremely level-headed, and I feel like they would work really well together to jerry-rig me out of there like a raccoon. The salty air is destroying your clothes. Which booktuber would you let clothe you? It would have to be Elizabeth Sagewood, because Elizabeth and I both love Killstar clothing. We both love this kind of like dark Victorian Gothic clothing. Elizabeth would know exactly what kind of clothing I would have in mind. You know, she wouldn't come at me with some type of coconut bikini and be like, you know, what do you think of this? She'd do something else. Like, you know, maybe she would forge some animal skulls and, you know, we could make something out of that. Or maybe we could just find some black mud and use that to cover our bodies. I mean, that's still pretty cool to me.
Does that feel good?
Even castaways need distractions. Which booktuber do you find who gives you the entertainment you need? Well, I have three. The first one is Jordaline from JordalineReads, because her humor is hilarious and she never fails to crack me up. Her humor is laser sharp. It is, you know, it cuts to the fat very quickly, and it's blunt, but it's so on point that you can't help but laugh. The second booktuber is Bookworm of the Damned. And if you have not watched any one of his videos, shame on you, because you are missing a segment within those videos that is called Tea Time. And tea time is when he makes some tea, he sits down, and he drops all of the truths on this story or this book or these characters or whatever. He does it in a very literary fashion, but with so much poignant humor. The third booktuber is That's What She Read. If you have not watched her TikToks, she has a lot of amazing personal stories that she shares. She also does a bunch of skits, and she's just generally a really funny person. And I always really appreciate someone who can do a good skit, so be sure to check her out.
So funny, you are so funny.
Shucks, you've been hurt. You need to find a booktuber to heal you. Who is it? I chose Cameron Chaney for this because just based on his writing and getting to know him a little bit, he seems like a very nurturing and caring person. He seems like the person who would definitely stop and help you if you were in need. Cameron could be like, you know, the mage that like heals the group.
You have to heal me.
Now it's raining. Which booktuber do you meet who could build you a solid shelter? I chose two booktubers for this, and the first one is Nikki from DarkBetweenPages. She does a lot of videos where she interviews authors, and whenever you're interviewing someone, that to me sounds like, you know, you have a lot of moving parts. You really have to prepare. You really have to know how all of this is going to go together and how to make it work. And even while it is happening, you kind of have to be constantly thinking and, you know, to make sure that this turns out well. So I think someone with that type of mental athletics, you know, would be really good in building shelters. Same thing goes for Slime and Slashers. If you've seen her videos, they are just awesome. The editing is just really cool, and I know that that takes a lot of work. So I know that these two women are not afraid to take big things on by themselves, so I feel like I could rely on that confidence. You come across a booktuber who challenges your perceptions. Who is it? I chose Rachel from Shades of Orange because Rachel is not a big fan of the haunted house trope, and you know that I really love it. So I feel like we could have these probably interesting discussions about why, you know, they work and they don't work, and all of that kind of good stuff.
It's a ghost. This house is haunted.
You find the source of all knowledge on BookTube Island. Which booktuber holds that knowledge? Well, I'm gonna go back to the very first booktuber that I ever watched, and that was Emily Fox from Emily's Books. She's not a horror booktuber. She reads everything. So because she reads everything, then she probably has a lot of information on various topics. You finally have a chance to be rescued. Which booktuber do you trust to save you? It would have to be Madame Lamore, because I just have this really fantastic fantasy in my mind now of like her in a helicopter, but like in all of her makeup and like her fake monster fingernails, and she's like reaching for me, you know, like hanging off of the helicopter, and I'm like, save me, and she's like, get over here. You've been saved! Tag another booktuber to go on Booktube Island Castaway Adventure. So I'm not gonna tag anyone because I am so late to this boat. But if you want to do this, then I have tagged you. So that was the tag. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much to Regina and to Lydia for tagging me. If you liked this video, please like and comment. Let me know your thoughts, your feelings. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Other than that, please take care of yourselves, look out for each other, and I will talk to you next time.